So I'm going to introduce to you the field of speculative design, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some of my work with fringe communities in this field before looking at how speculative design can be applied to invite future proposals by focusing on a particular project I did called farmification. So speculative design creates proposals that digest large, complex issues surrounding our futures into tangible designs for debate. It allows everyone to think more critically about the issues surrounding our futures, such as reproduction, computation, and biomedicine. And we do this using real-life markets and products in a way that we're already familiar with. For example, this is Ai Hakasawa's work. It's the common demand for experience novelties in love hotels is being repurposed. In this case, the high oxygen density of a prehistoric period, the Carboniferous period, is being used to induce a new kind of sexual arousal. The Extreme Environment Love Hotel looks at a trajectory of where these artificial environments that's already present in our today's in vitro reproduction can be reused. Ching-Tat Chung's project is a life investment fund, just like any that you'll see in the stock market, except this one is run for a year by a superstitious autonomous algorithm. The superstitious fund investigates our reliance on technologies and our irrationalities in the financial system. And Emily Hayes, Manufacturing Monroe, looks at our obsession with celebrity merchandise to put into a world that where our biological capabilities goes beyond uses for medical applications and scientific research. So all these prototypes are ways of looking at theoretical speculation in a way that brings us that one step closer to the future. Why is that necessary? Well, if you think about it, we're entering into this world of hyperdocumentation, right? It leaves pretty much nothing to the imagination, and we know that it's becoming a bit more difficult to maintain that suspension of disbelief that was probably more generously given to us a couple of decades ago. So this way of using design to create immediate debate and criticism is a very proactive way of presenting research. And you're staring at a rubber chicken. This is Camilla Corona, NASA's latest star in engaging with the public. What? So they assume that as the public, we're too overwhelmed by data and too intimidated by these star astronauts that we have to speak to NASA and ask questions via a rubber chicken. Now, I see this as a desperate outcry for speculative design. This rubber chicken is lately taken through a solar radiation storm with loads of plants and insects. And actually all the insects died, but most of the plants survived. And now they're getting schools to plant the sunflower seeds to see the effects of this solar radiation. And to me, I'm thinking, oh, poor plants, you know, or great plants, poor insects. And that to me is a more inspiring story. So speculative design is really creating that alternative bridge between real life and research in a way that can allow us to push forward our expectations of design. For years we've been asking, where is design taking us? And really we're being finally invited to actually participate in this imaginative process in giving further possibilities that to counteract these mainstream acceptance of our futures. So I spend my time exploring fringe communities, particularly groups that are ignored by mainstream society and mainstream research and industry. So instead of leaving them to become forgotten and left behind, I hope to persuade industries as well as ourselves to see the richness in the fringe and the opportunities in a future with these groups. So let's spend a little bit of time looking at what my ideas of the fringe are. This is a bell curve, and of course it shows a standard distribution of any population. It could be of any taste, criteria, belief, etc. And generally we like to focus on the group in the middle, the norm. For years it was the wet dream of marketeers and proud supporters of mass production. But I've become really fascinated with these folks that fall into the edges, the fringes, because I've become really convinced that this is where all the unexpected narratives are coming from. And this is something that the design world's known for a long time. For ages, we've been using this term extreme users, where researchers would observe non-mainstream users following, looking at a particular product. For example, giving a power tool to a 90-year-old and seeing how they react to it, or an iPad to a 3-year-old and waiting for unexpected behavior to emerge. Now, all this good information and insights are then mined to be poured back to the original product in some way. This is interesting, or potentially disconcerting if you think about it, because there are really two types of exploitation that are happening here. One, we alter the mainstream product, we kind of forget about the outliers. It's kind of like stealing insights from them and then not caring about them at all. Or two, we take our learnings, adapt our mainstream product to sell back to the fringes, and essentially normalizing the fringe and contributing to a loss in their uniqueness. This is a pretty hot topic, with the design world recently asking if we're really helping through our work or just exploiting. With this in mind, I started exploring projects, venturing into the weird and wonderful world of the fringe and making surprising services with cat ladies, conspiracy theorists, and airport activists. And I'll explain exactly how I do that. The first project is called Association of Feline Association. I became fascinated with cat ladies. Do we all know what are cat ladies? So people normally say this with a rolled eye. I kind of noticed a few here. To become a cat lady is kind of like the quintessential acknowledgement of disappearing from society, right? But they're incredible people. Imagine living with 5 to 60 cats, prioritizing them over your loved ones, and even in extreme cases, taking on second jobs in order to fund those extreme food and veterinary fees. As I was studying cat ladies, I started coming across a parasite called toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasmosis infects brains of rats, and it causes behavioral changes in the rat. One of these changes makes the rat less fearful, and this change in behavior makes it more likely to be eaten by a hungry cat, and once inside the cat's gut, the parasite reproduces. Nice. I found out that toxoplasmosis can infect brains of humans too, where it also causes behavioral changes. And one of the changes that was really amazing to me is that women infected with toxoplasmosis are perceived to be more attractive. I thought, well, you know, if we're looking at this whole world that we have in the spa world, anything from lasers to colonic irrigation to fish eating dead skin, surely being infected by a parasite isn't so far-fetched. So I created a spa experience that would give you access to toxoplasmosis in the form of an infected cat to a high-end spa client. And this whole interaction would be overseen under the expertise of a cat lady. And the whole system is, it's actually called a feline therapy session, and the whole system is overseen by Association of Feline Association. So I'm going to show you a clip of what a feline therapy session might look like. Oh.
But it's a very natural process, you know, and how it works, and I'm quite into that, the whole organic experience of it. And yeah, to be honest, the cat lady was a bit creepier than the parasites themselves. So I had that bit bonding with the cat, and then she showed me some products in her shop. So that she'd made herself like cat muffins, cat pate, cat toys, and then other products from the company that she was trying to sell, give them the hard sell.
In association and feline satiation, I've used a scientific interpretation of parasitic infection in cats to create a functional service between cat ladies and the high-end or mainstream spa ladies in a way that could support the lifestyle of cat keeping. The next project, Wellman Waters, came about, let me just explain first. Wellman Waters is actually a water filtration service by conspiracy theorists. So I was looking for my next fringe group when I came across this community of conspiracy theorists in Hampstead. They called themselves Wellmen because they gathered at a well to share their findings. Some of their beliefs were quite relatable, while other things were kind of wild speculations that even I couldn't quite relate to. But they were passionate about sharing their findings, like all of us, and I even admired their research dedication. But they were quite unapproachable, and I was quite uneasy around them. But I remembered that encouraging a diversity of thoughts in the population is all about getting in touch and having conversations with those people that we're not all that comfortable with. And another thing to bear in mind is that conspiracy theories can be really helpful sometimes. So if we think back to the first informers of global warming 30 years ago, sometimes conspiracy theories are just truths that aren't yet understood by the public. Anyway, after delving into the world of paranoia, I decided to use water as the gateway kind of conspiracy theory to lure in potential believers. Because people are more likely to be concerned about, say, the fluoridation of their own tap waters, which is quite difficult to get rid of, than mass governmental facilities to cause international depression. So Wellman Waters is a free service that would periodically filter large quantities of water, your own tap water, at the convenience of your doorsteps for free. What's the catch? Well, it takes 15 minutes to filter the water, and in that time, you've got someone standing in front of your door responsible for your drinking water. You end up paying by listening time. So let's just see how that looks like.
So a lot of people will see us as conspiracy theorists